Finish what you start. Finish what you start. Every endeavor, every undertaking that we or any person takes involves a start and a finish. Finish what you start.
Welcome back to the neighborhood. I am your favorite neighbor, Jay Murray, and I want to thank you for listening in and tuning in to Happy Hood the Podcast. This is where we connect, cultivate, and build a meaningful community that is centered around health, agape, power, institute. Happy Hood. It is a purpose-driven lifestyle. What's going on, family? What's going on, neighbors? I am one more time, so excited for you to join us again, to come back to the neighborhood for another edition of Happy of the Podcast. Finish what you start. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to be another dynamic conversation. I would say something that will be the theme is about self-discovery, being you and being comfortable in your creativity. I would say that will be somewhat the theme if I had to kind of put it on, I don't know, put my finger on it, anything, but finish what you start. This is where we talk to amazing individuals about their how-tos and allow them to share their experiences, their ups and downs that has allowed them to live a purpose lifestyle. And this individual truly has done that. I guess today we're coming all the way across the pond to London. This individual is a London-based award-winning multidisciplinary artist, digital content creator, who through their journey of self-discovery found inspiration to channel their experience, their texture, their voice in herself, as well as her community and her craft. I guess today says jewelry and art has become more than creating bold, unapologetic pieces. Her story lives in what she creates in 2020. Her light bulb moment came as she started to express her own voice in her work and use it to support other Black, minority, and first-generation creatives. Happy family, let's welcome to the neighborhood, Kassandra Lauren Gordon. How you doing today, or this evening, or this morning?
This morning, today, whatever time in the world, I'm doing great. So thank you for having me on your platform.
Well, thank you. Like I said, I'm super excited for you to join us today. Really impressed. Happy family, definitely go check out her podcast. You can go to subscribe that on YouTube, Black Creative Handbook. Some really great insight around creativity, and something that I didn't really think about when you think about like writer's block. I do believe we also get like a creator's block, about different things, how we want to create, the frustration, or just how we are drawing our inspiration. So she has some wonderful how-tos as well as individuals to provide insight. So Kassandra, I guess let's start with, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, where should I start? How can I be concise for you? Where should I start? What age? When?
Well, I would say start with like what inspired you to go into art, as well as specifically like around your creativity, like tell us a little bit about how you evolve your creativity. What was the first thing that you felt or gravitated to, where you start being creative, or you start noticing your creativity?
Wow. Cliche, but when I was a little girl, I thought I was always creative. However, I've been actively discouraged since a little girl of being creative from my parents, especially my mom, because they didn't see creativity paying the bills. And I come from a Jamaican or immigrant household where if you're not a doctor, lawyer, middle classer, you're you like it didn't matter what you do so long as you had one of those professions where they can go to church or go wherever or the supermarket and say, my daughter's a doctor, my daughter's a lawyer, my daughter is a pharmacist. And that was based on their self-esteem because they had to sacrifice so much
Mhm.
coming to this country, meaning Great Britain or the UK, where they've been asked to come by the British Empire. And when they got here, it wasn't as nice as they thought it would be. So I
Mm.
understand why my mom and had a lot of survival, like kind of projection on me for me to go through the education route and hope to become a doctor of some sort. I
Yeah.
tried to live that life and I just circle all the way back to creativity. So I have degrees which I do not use. My mom has not forgiven me of not completing my PhD. So
Mm.
to her, until I make big bucks or big bucks, I am not. I am the daughter who never finished her PhD. So there you go.
Mm.
So she wanted to go around telling people that I was a doctor. I was like, I haven't even finished my PhD. I haven't even started the PhD. So I've got
When
a
did
lot.
you start, like, as you was saying, like, hey, when you was in school, you always went back to your creative side? When did you
I
start
love
taking that? Go ahead.
Sorry, talking over you. I love drama. I feel I was really good at drama. So I don't know how in the States how you do your qualifications, but in the UK we call them GCSEs. So I think it's like your SATs. So the
Okay.
equivalent of doing your drama for your SATs, I did them early. I did it 2 years early. I was really good at drama. So I got like A's, like my qualifications in drama 2 years early when you usually should take it. But my mom always just goes, oh, drama, why are you doing that for? I used to go, yeah. So it just made me feel like, and also even my in England, or you have sixth form. So I don't know in
Mm.
college, I don't know how you call it, like I don't know, your senior years at senior years in high school. So when you're 16 to 18, you can either go to a college, not university, but it's like a in between high school and university kind of
Like a community
establishment.
college? We'll probably call that community college here.
Kinda, but it's for
Okay.
16 to 18, 19-year-olds. So
Okay.
some of it in England we call them sixth form. So when I was in the senior years of high school, um, I put down on my university form I wanted to do drama, and my head of the head teacher was just like, no, crossed it off, and he put down
Wow.
psychology, and I was just like, okay, because no one ever, I didn't have no mentorship, no one else from
Mhm.
went to university. Everyone was so against me doing drama. Even my psychology teacher, when I was doing, they're like, I don't think you should do, because I really love Halle Berry at the time. And at the time, I think at the age, she won the Oscar for Monsters Ball.
Monster Ball.
And,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I think showing my age, but it's just like at that time, I really wanted to do drama. And
Yeah.
everyone in my family, everyone was so against it. And I didn't understand why. And it made me really happy. So fast forward, went to university, did my master's, thought I was going to do a PhD, came to London, did some charity work. And then I did an evening course in silversmithing, just how to make
Okay.
a silver ring. I like a little small course, and I just loved it ever since. So I just self-taught, did a lot of courses, and that's how I trained to be a goldsmith or a jeweler.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
my long route
That's a long, long
of
route.
creativity. So in my 20s, I was a late bloomer, discovering my creativity because it'd been so suppressed from other people's
Mhm.
expectations of me and what they wanted me to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I came across this quote, and I'm a butcher it. I already know I'm a butcher it. So, but I'll give you the main happy family, the main theme, and it is about pretty much projecting aspirations. And I used to think about this, when I was a manager at my current employer. And we never wanted to project our aspirations on our direct reports, right? We wanted them to kind of lead on themselves, right? And as I have gotten older, have kids of myself, you understand the thin line between projecting your aspirations. However, I think something we don't talk about is projecting fear and our failure on other people, you know. And throughout this process, or throughout you discovering your creativity and things that really drive your passion, did you feel at times, looking back, that people was projecting their experiences, their failure on you?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. I think if you this is why I do Black Creative Handbook, the podcast, because being a creative is hard.
Yeah.
Either way, unless you're like super like, Kanye West level, Beyonce level, it's hard to even to make a proper living doing creative
Mhm.
art. So, but there's certain nuances when you're black or from a person of color perspective. As I
Yeah.
said, you have family tax, how I would say it. So if you come from an immigrant or a black sort of family, there's always the expectation to help your family
Mhm.
in like, which our white counterparts don't always have to. Like sometimes my white counterparts are in their 30s and their parents are paying for their holiday, their car, their mobile phone bill. And like, I didn't get that luxury, you know what I mean? And they know, or they know they're going to be good, cushy. That's probably a
Mhm.
colloquial term, but they're going to inherit that house, or something from their parents. I don't
Mhm.
have that. But from 16, I knew I cannot fall back. I have to, if I go to Jamaica with my parents, people would
Mhm.
say, "Oh, it's a holiday. Oh, it's nice." And no, it's not a holiday. I have to go back and send stuff. There's an expectation of
Yeah.
giving, and
Mm.
you save so much money and stuff like that, and you just end up just giving it all away. And you're not always investing in yourself because you've always got to take care of your family first, or there's all these expectations. So as I get older, how do I manage that? Like I can't
Yeah.
give. If my mom said, "Oh, go to," I don't even have it in America, go MoneyGram or Western Union and give X amount of money to your cousin or this. I'm like, I can't do that anymore. How
Yeah.
can I help someone when I can't help myself? I've got to put that oxygen mask on, as a
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah.
And when
Mhm.
I get bigger and have more money, I can do that. So it took me a long time for that emotion to
Mm.
really put boundaries to protect myself and my creativity. Because if I don't have that, I just get upset and depressed. And what I'm going to do, when I'm upset and depressed.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. You just said the key word that I was just going to ask you again, like far as the how to's, because boundaries, protecting your creativity. And I guess as you have been allowing your creativity to evolve and to where now you can monetize it, your creativity, right? I guess my question is, what inspiration do you draw from to be creative?
That is such a multi-layered uh, and loaded question. There's so much
Mhm.
ways I can answer that. But the first thing that pops in my head, and it might not be obvious, is social capital. And when I mean social capital, when you ask me the other question about, how to become creative,
Mhm.
one of my biggest mistakes in my 20s, and I'm trying to not have regrets, but it's hard for me to deal with this personal development wise. I didn't hang around with creatives because I didn't see my identity as a creative. Therefore,
Mm.
when I didn't hang around with creatives, when I told creative ideas,
They didn't know how to take it.
they didn't know how to take it. And all I got was discouragement and doubt and just not a great way of living because I was just like, well, and I'm one of those creatives where I don't know the terminology. You have a good left brain and a good right. I can be very analytical,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I can be super creative. So I fit in
Mhm.
both worlds, but I prefer to be in the creative side. So I
Mhm.
did well, like in the project management, analytical, analyze things, analyst kind of roles.
Mhm.
And it was really hard every time I tried to go out of the box in these like nine to five jobs or these type of analytical jobs. Backlash, backlash. No one wants to like stir the pot. No one wants to do anything. So back to yourself. Back to your question of like, what was my source of creativity, how to be more creative and stuff like that. My social capital, make sure I have people I can trust, I can talk about my creative ideas and understand me.
Mhm.
And two, it's a bit of a cliche answer, is
Yeah.
about my gut. My gut. If
Yeah.
I feel it and I want to do it, I do it and trust
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So when as you have mentioned, having a multidisciplinary artistic approach, and I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Mhm.
And I had remember you saying this actually again. Happy family, go subscribe to the Black Creative Handbook on YouTube. Some wonderful information there that as an artist, you don't allow people to put you in a box, you know, to like, hey, I just do painting or I just do digital content. how do you maintain the disciplinary in each of those areas without allowing people to pigeonhole you, into one area, even yourself? Like, how do you continue to evolve your creativity? I guess is
I use a cheat sheet and just say artist or creative, and hopefully it ticks all the boxes. But how do I evolve? I feel that it will naturally come in. I'm Cassandra, right? So
Mm,
anything I do would naturally draw from different disciplines. So, if I think about creative direction, like how does something visually look? Am I thinking from my filming background, or am I thinking as a jeweler? Am I looking at color theory? I think it
mm,
all integrates. It's just your approach of how to do it. So I'm developing my creative practice of just looking at things at different angles. And I think being a
yeah,
jeweler is a bit different because I've had hand-on experience making something and manifesting something than just having an idea. So I
mm,
can always look at bringing out the emotions and narratives in a different way through a
wow,
wearable art, and telling different narratives when you just do a certain painting and stuff like that. So
yeah,
the thing for me is to acquire more references, me to do more research, acquire more references, be open not just to black art and black people, to any type of things, record that, and also to expand my circle and to be around more creative people who
yeah,
I really, really trust. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Definitely, that's it's something that I, as you was mentioning, or just saying, as far as just trigger my thought, is creativity flows, right? It flows like in what we do every day, right? In what we do every day. I think what allows us to harness our creativity, those talents, those skills, excuse me, those talents and gifts, is the practice in way that we are practicing, or the way we're developing those talents and gifts to allow them to become skills, you know. So it's definitely, as I'm hearing you, is like the practice of doing all these things, the practice of your social capital, the practice of researching and not just narrowing your research to one group, one culture, but also broaden it into a very wide culture. Talk to us a little bit about your jury. Like, I know you have written in a lot of publications. And Happy Family, again, you can go to Kassandra website, and I'm gonna try to bring it up here. It is let me bring up here. KLG Jewellery with two L's.com. And again, she has a lot of information there. But tell us about certain things that you have done, because you have worked with Goldsmith around just the industry, I say, around jewelry, and as well as some
Mhm.
research that you did with Goldsmith. So talk us a little bit about your advocacy. Yeah, I'm gonna call it that. Your advocacy
Yeah,
for
advocacy.
jewelry, and for like the unrepresented minority group or black group that's in this particular industry.
Absolutely. Can I just say, everybody in the world, no matter what culture, have some type of adornment or relationship to jewelry, whether you wear it or not, right?
Mm,
So I just find it very fascinating for the population, human beings, wear a piece of jewelry, and black jewelry makers are not seen really. And even
mm,
I'm being very facetious here, like black rappers or
yeah,
ballers or whatever you call it, they go to like not to white, Hispanic, Chinese, Japanese people to get their jewelry made. And I'm just like,
mm,
what? So I'm just thinking, like, I'm just putting it out there. It's just like, we are there. Someone this week says to me, I'm in London, like, I never met a black jeweler before. I'm like, because you never looked for one. You never looked for one. You don't see black jewelers can make the same thing. And I think sometimes in the black community, I don't know how it is over there and in our African American cousins, but sometimes there's this distrust of trusting using
oh
black
yeah,
businesses and stuff like that, like, or they think that they
oh
can
yeah.
get discounts or something. I don't understand that. So I don't know if that's the same over there, like this kind
It's
of
the same.
distrust. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's the same as far as the trust, the you know, how can I put this? The discounts are just the credibility, or the brand itself. We rather go to a Louis or, and again, and when I say we,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
hear
wear
you.
too much jewelry. I'm a, when it comes to jewelry or different accessory, I'm just really simple. But but I think when you think about like the individuals that wear jewelry and really magnify it, it's because of the brand. It's because of the big chain, and it's because of other things that comes with it. But I think it's also ignorant that some of us don't know. And to your point is like you would think, especially Black people, we are in pretty much a lot of different things, because we are no like monolithic type of individual or people or culture. You would think, again, doing your research and really seeking out to make sure as I go patronize this business, let me see if there's any Black dollars that I need to help to circulate in. Now, and,
Sorry.
and again, I am guilty of that. It's not, I need to take my own advice and and practice what I preach. But I don't know why that's not the
It's not
first thing that.
practice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a skill, because when we look at our other counterparts, Jewish counterparts, Asian counterparts, that dollar or pound is circulating 7 or 10 times before it comes out of their community. They've been brought up with that. We have
Yeah.
been, collectively, Western Black people, whatever, African diaspora people, I mean Western, not to trust and put our dollars or pounds or
Hmm.
euros where we are. And I don't understand that, and I have to, it's a skill, like how you learn how to be around certain spaces, how you do your ABCs, how you count. It's just practice. So I'm just thinking, like, I have to train myself. For instance, when I want to go to a restaurant, I can say my partner, hold on, is it Black owned? I'm like, is it Black? I need to know if it's Black owned or not. Or if I buy a piece of soap, or I'm trying to, like, little things. I can't do everything. I'm not perfect,
Hmm.
but the things what I think
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
control, like the products I use on my skin, and the restaurants I go to. Obviously, supermarkets are hard. I can't go to a Black. I haven't seen a Black owned supermarket. Okay,
Hey, man.
but if there was, I'll try. But the
Hmm.
things what I can do, I just have to practice. It's hard though. We're just not used to it. But I think the more we connect and have like-minded people and we promote it, it can happen. It can happen. So fingers crossed. But you was asking me, sorry, I digress. I'm trying to be very succinct for you. But you asked me a question
This is cool.
about what I did with my advocacy work. So okay,
Yeah,
cool. So
yeah, yeah.
unfortunately, unfortunate incident of George Floyd happened, and there was a lot of jewelers, white jewelers, all of a sudden be like, "Oh my God!" They never talked to. I never seen them talk about Black people in my whole life, but all of a sudden, for monetary reasons and for social and performative reasons, all these jewelers who I knew, I mean, white jewelers were just like, "Oh, Trevor Noah said this quote. It's so bad." And black square, black square. And I'm just like, no, 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 not on my watch, not on my timeline. You're not going
Hmm.
to use this for your views and monetize off a Black man's death. No way. No. So I just started talking about it. Like, what is this performative allyship? Why all of a sudden you're doing this, using your business page to talk about this? And then
Hmm.
when people say all life matters on your Instagram, you don't want to take it off. So
Yeah.
black square or all life, you have to use either or, right?
Hmm.
And then eventually I was getting sick of it. People like were coming to me, or like, 'cause I was Black, I was talking about it, and they're like,
Hmm.
"Oh, can you educate me?" I'm like, "No." So I just wrote an open letter. I was like, "I'm not educating nobody. I don't have this." So I just wrote an open letter in the jewelry industry,
Hmm.
just saying, "Listen, yeah, all these things are happening. People want to do things but don't know what to do. These are 5 practical things what you could think about, like open doors, think about stocking us, blah 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 blah. Press, highlight. There's some practical, easy steps which can include." And then that went viral in the jewelry and fashion community, even in the US. And
Yeah.
then, the US people, and then it just spiraled into different initiatives, which I was part of. And
Hmm.
using my skills, using my 1 degree, which I don't use, which is social research, I thought, I know how these people are. People will come to me like, oh my God, I don't know what Black people are thinking. Oh, what can we do? Oh my God, I never knew. I was like, okay, then. I don't want to go on no panel talk about Black people things. It's dead to me. Sorry, I'm not saying if you do, that's okay. But for me, like, what I'm going to sit there in a panel and say, yeah, racism is bad. It shouldn't happen. White people should do better. And then nothing happens, right? So I'm like, I'm very practical. I'm like, what can I do to help to move things along? So I just tried to raise some money to do some research, like do a survey UK Black jewelers, ask them questions and see what they say, and also do a social research report. So the survey was quantitative, full of numbers, see things are statistically significant. And then I did the qualitative research. It's looking at people's narratives, which are more stronger out of qualitative research of, you know, I think I interviewed about 12 or 11 Black jewelers and looking at their experiences, because I was sick since my open letter. I was sick of people calling me, white people calling me and telling me about what they thought about racism. I'm like, I'm trying to make a living. Why are you calling me? And I'm not having a go at them because everyone starts from different. But it was just very overwhelming. They saw me as this Black jewelry poster girl who could absolve everyone's guilt in the jewelry industry, which is a very ancient industry.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially where they get their resources from brown people and brown labor. You know, the history of getting diamonds and getting the mining. There's some atrocities in the jewelry trade from brown people's bodies. And think, if we use Kassandra and use her in a press release and say we work with Kassandra, it absolves them from any diversity and inclusion work. I was like, I'm not having it. Take me off your press release. What are you going to do? Have you read my research report? Because people come to me, I don't know what to do. What are Black people saying? Here's a report. Journalists like, can you give me a quote? Here's the report. If you really can, you can even read the executive summary, which is two paragraphs. But they don't want to. They just want to do a KFC bucket, put all Black,
KFC bucket.
KFC bucket list. These are 10 Black jewelers you need to know. I'm like, I was here. I was here since day one.
Wow.
Don't put me in a KFC bucket.
Wow.
Value me as a designer. Value me as a jeweler. So those type of things. So anyway, so I did that. That's how it started. And then I just had to step away from it. I'm like, I don't like using the word activist because that's what some of these journalists do. Like, there's an activist. Like, no, I'm a jeweler. I'm just practical because you ain't going to do anything. And I didn't want to hear any of you like, I don't know what to do, and have a little panel. And it's there. So, and I raised money. So I raised about like nearly £30,000 for Black jewelers so they can have their own fund, so they can just do what they want. Didn't have to do no lengthy forms. Didn't have to like tell you like how they're going to spend the money. It's just for them. I know it's not everything, but it's just something for them. And I thought it was very important to do that, just to show some support and just to show people as well, Black people, which as well, right? I was sick of having the kind of victim narrative of waiting for an institution to do something for them. Now, before George Floyd unfortunately died, I had about like 1,000 followers. I wasn't like this jewelry influencer person. It's just me, my mouth, and Instagram. And that's what happened. So it wasn't even like I planned to do it. It's not like I monetized from it. It's something that I felt passionate about. I had the skill sets to do it, and I wanted to carry it through. And I feel like sometimes I was just sick of like some Black people in my circles were just like, oh, I can't do anything. Oh, racism. I'm like, you can make a change. Even if it's little, you can do something. So if you keep having the narrative, like we're going to wait for an institution to do something, nothing happens because it's too bureaucratic. And these old institutions are sometimes not agile. They have to, you know, if it's not done by, if it's not change, sometimes it'll happen, especially in Britain, if it's not done by reputational risk. So if you don't shame them and make it public, like, hey, you're a bit racist over there, they ain't gonna do nothing. Not how much goodwill, if they go out with a Black person, or if their husband is Mexican or whatever, they're not gonna do anything until they're publicly shown that they haven't done anything. And unfortunately, that's what takes sometimes these organizations to do something, to be publicly spotlighted that actually you done diddly squat
Yeah.
supporting Black people or people of color, and then you have to do something quickly.
Mhm.
It is what it is. So and also, after the last 2 years, I'm just side eyeing everybody, and I don't want to become cynical person. I believe in giving people chances. I believe
Yeah.
everyone have a different skill set, but what I measure for me, it's not always the knowledge and getting everything right. People make mistakes. It's your willingness.
Yeah.
If you don't have the willingness to make a change, don't come chat to me. I don't have time. I don't have time. If you're gonna help me, have you got budget? Are you willing to get budget to help people or not? And sometimes people think that I'm quite harsh. I'm passionate about my Black people. I'm passionate about all human beings.
Hmm.
So don't come insult me and give me platitudes like, oh, it takes time. When it was COVID 2020, things quick change. So use that same energy, just like how people, I don't get political, like the love, like the Ukraines and stuff like that. Use that same energy, like in COVID when people had to work from home overnight and change their IT systems and
Yeah.
working like. I need
Oh
that
yeah.
same energy, which is a humanitarian issue. And the point is that people don't see us, Black people, as human,
Hmm.
less than human. And that's why they're taking their sweet time doing stuff. And sometimes Black people, we don't see ourselves like we have the cultural power. We
Yeah.
have a lot of power. We can do things, but we just don't believe in it. And I think
Hmm.
and I don't want to be preachy. I'm not perfect, and I've got a lot to learn, but I'm very into self-efficacy. Like you have to try and do things. You can't just wait for people. And even if you make a mistake, it's okay. Just
Yeah.
be humble
Get
and
back
just
up.
try again.
Hmm.
So that's
Fail
how I got
fast.
to all the advocacy kind of stuff. But I'm taking a step back now. I did my
Mhm.
bit for society. The evidence is there. Do what you want.
You put it in, you planted it, you plant the seed, and then from there, we pray that it multiplies. One thing that you mentioned, as far as the money that you raised, that you was able to help out other Black jewelers, and I guess for individuals like myself that's not that familiar with Black jewelry or jeweler, excuse me, like is it is the concept or the business, is it somewhat complex as it relates to funding, as it relates to, you know, the industry, or just kind of penetrating through the market? Because to your point, it is a very old, ancient, type of industry. When you think about it from a global perspective. So, like, what is, I guess you can talk about some of the challenges or things that people may not know, and why it's so important to support Black jewelry, minority jewelers. Why isn't it's so important to support those groups, um, you know, to help them out. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, so you asked me about some of the barriers for
Yeah.
Black jewelers. One,
Mhm.
just to put out, there are some successful Black jewelers out there,
Mhm.
10 times more successful than me and doing really well. But it's not level across the board, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
some barriers. So in my research report, and this is for the UK, I'm not sure about the US, but in the UK,
Probably some
lack of
similarities.
social capital. So in the jewelry quarter, especially, so there's jewelry quarters in the UK. So I'm in the London one, and there's one in Birmingham. But anyway, so the point is, in the jewelry quarters, usually how you get into jewelry trade is either you become an apprentice. So you learn from it from school when you're 16 and you or 17, and you study underneath a master jeweler for 5, 6, 7 years, and you qualify and you whatever. And the second route, usually traditional route, is you go to university to do some jewelry or silversmithing course, right?
Mhm.
So what we've done learned through the survey, not many Black jewelers knew about being apprentice or known going through the apprentice route because it wasn't exposed to it, or never knew about it, or never know it's a choice. And secondly, they don't go to uni for jewelry. So what happens, just like how I got into the jewelry industry, you do a bit of short course and you kind of fumble your way through. What the risk of that is, like, you don't have social capital, meaning like because jewelry, it's such a community and it's all about trust. So for instance, if I'm making an engagement ring and I talk to a diamond dealer, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
can you give me that diamond, which has cost $12,000, £12,000? I want to show my customer. He will give me that diamond for a week or two, showing customers. There's a trust. But how do
Yeah.
you build that trust if you don't know nobody or have that relationship? So
Mm.
usually how people get in the jewelry industry is either you work in like a workshop for years and people know you and they trust you and give you stuff and make recommendations, blah, blah, blah. Or you have a family owned business. So they just insert you into and then that's how you get business and stuff like that. So as a black jeweler, if you don't go to university, don't have alumni networks and stuff like that, you're just going in by yourself. So lack
Yeah.
of social capital. So it's hard for even to get supplies in the trade if people don't vouch for you because they don't know you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Number two, is capital as well. A lot of when I to my because when you're an adult in the UK, you don't doing creative diplomas or whatever, or you have to pay for them. Like doing art courses is very expensive, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I had to work part-time to pay for the course, blah blah blah. So there's a barrier to entry. Like being a jeweler is not cheap. You got to pay for your tools. I work in fine jewelry, so I'm working in precious metal. I'm paying for my gemstones, I'm paying for gold, for platinum. It's like it's not cheap, right? So there's a barrier to
Mm-hmm.
entry there. So a lot of people on my course, where I call them how do I say that? They either were really, really young, meaning like they got support from the government to do their courses. If you're like 16 to 25, the government will help you. If you're over 25, you're on your own. You're seen as mature. And you
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of older women who are like bored housewives or the like empty nesters who just wanted something to
Yeah.
do, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And had money from their husband to do this jewelry course or just to make a jewelry line, right? So I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't have that rich husband and I'm not 25. I need to figure out how to make this work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really hard struggle, and even trying to get a jewelry job. So my name is Kassandra Lauren Gordon. So it sounds very white if people don't see my face. So when I used to go for jobs, they're like, yeah, we got a job. And when I used to turn up, like, oh no, the job's gone. So that's how to like make my own kind of like jewelry company because people weren't giving me jobs.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
they wouldn't. I've sent about 200 CVs when people said they had jobs, 200 odd CVs, and people would not give me a chance. So, and me even trying to get supplies. I remember someone thought I was stealing. And the
Wow.
stone, I can't even tell you, the stone was like £8 and a
Mm-hmm.
couple of dollars, right? Why would I risk my reputation of stealing an £8 moonstone, a semi-precious, a stone not even worth anything, right? And it's just very, very traumatizing being a black jeweler.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are the things that put people off. And
Yeah.
what else in the survey? I can't remember the exact percentage. It was quite high. I think it was like 60 or 50. I think it was 50 or 60% of people, of black jewelers in the UK, experienced racism on their course.
Oh
So if they
wow.
did a short course, it's a high level of racism in education, and that affects people's mental health and how this. I remember when I did
Mm-hmm.
my course, how much racism from the teachers I have. So it was just, and the thing is, like, it's a do as you doomed if you do, doomed you don't. You've paid X amount of money, thousands of pounds for your course. If you leave that course, your money's gone. So there's like a
Mm-hmm.
sunken cost, right? So
Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
things are happening, against. So there's certain nuances which not just like just a random jeweler, a first business time jeweler have compared to a black jeweler. The level of trust is low sometimes with suppliers. Sometimes suppliers don't want you. Sometimes you can't even get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of discrimination, it is what it is. And also the press as well. The press doesn't want to always put you in their in their publications. They prefer all the white jewelers. And I'm just like, sometimes press and sometimes some institutions, if you don't put a coffee bean of, say that it's like you put like a flag of Africa or an ankh, they don't see it as part of your heritage.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this extra cultural creative labor for sometimes a black artist, and Like if it doesn't look ethnic, it doesn't have an afro on it, it's not, you're not a black jeweler. Because one of my first collections was all about space. I like
Mm.
space. I was talking about Jupiter. I was like, oh, I like it, but I'd love to know about your heritage. I'm like, you never ask a white jeweler or English jeweler to put fish and chips or beans on toast or, Harry Potter.
Yeah,
Why are
yeah.
you asking me to do, what are you trying to say? You know what I mean? So there's
Mhm.
if you don't fit the black aesthetic, what they think,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can't.
yeah.
You don't have that creative freedom. But I'm just like, I create what I want to create and just hope for the best, and people just will rock with me. So I'm just giving
Mhm.
you some example of some
Yeah,
barriers.
yeah,
It's
definitely,
quite
definitely.
multi-layered. It's not linear. Everyone experiences different things, but those are the things what I found out in the study and in the social research report.
Totally, totally. I appreciate you sharing that. Happy family. Again, we are talking to Kassandra Lauren Gordon here on Happy of the Podcast. Finish what you start. Cassandra, I wanted to ask you this, and we was talking about this a little bit before we came on. And I believe as an artist, and as a creative person, there's truly no such thing as failure when you are
Ooh.
creative, you know, because to your point, you said uh, even in your jury, you want to pull out the emotions, you know, the uh, contrast of the texture, you know, and really allow it to kind of tell its own story, right? And I know something happened last night here in the States, with Will Smith and Chris Rock. I wonder, like in that moment where again it could have been something in this case here, and I'm gonna try to wrap this together, happy family. So just bear with me. In that moment there, and when you are experiencing I guess trauma, because I believe Will Smith may have been triggered, right? Is there a place in our emotions that you feel we are most creative, you know? Because I feel like times when I am at my low, I don't know, I'm able to empty out my thoughts and my feelings in a much better way, you know. And I'm not saying that we should all look to get hurt and things like that just to be creative, but I just wonder from a creative to another creative, do you feel like there's a particular emotion in creativity that we're able to exude more, and even in what happened yesterday, is there any creativity in that incident that you saw?
What, getting slapped?
Yeah, I guess not.
I don't know if it's creative. I don't know if it's a creative thing. I know you tried to. I can't even. I think that's a stretch. I'm sorry. I don't. I
It was
don't.
a stretch. Okay,
It's a bit of a stretch. I have to be
okay.
honest. I
It
don't
was
know
a stretch.
why.
Okay, hey, it was a stretch for me.
It's a stretch. But that was quite creative, though. That was quite creative.
Hey, hey.
Yeah. So I don't know if I could do that. What was creative was how he did that speech quick. That
Yeah.
speech, I was like, that was a good speech.
Mhm.
And I felt it. I felt it for him. But you're asking me what time of day or what type of state you are in creative. I can't tell you. You only know. And I think for me, I can only talk for me. When I was in my early 20s, I think, oh yeah, when I'm sad, I write better stories and poetry and stuff like
Yeah,
that. I'm like,
yeah,
and that's what you think. But I think it's all in the rewrite and
mm,
the revisiting. So I always try to not do things in one go. And I've learned that the hard way. Like do it in
mhm,
bits for me. If I'm doing a piece of work, I might want to revisit it. How can I make it better? And not
yeah,
judge myself when I do something as a first draft. For me, I'm a morning person. So I'm like, for me, mornings are good for me. And when I feel more confident in my creative ability, is when I'm happy and when I have really good people around me and I feel connected to the world and when I feel more connected to humans. So that's my personal take, but everyone has their own methods.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
interesting.
It seems that's when you feel rejuvenated, when you talk about
I-
your social capital being rejuvenated.
I'm telling you, once I changed my social capital from to more creatives, my life has changed. Like I thought
Mm.
in my 20s, I was crazy. Like when I was telling to people I wanted to be a jeweler and stuff like that, they're like, no, Cassandra, just earn 40,000 a year and just be a social worker. You'll be fine. Black woman, be a social worker. That's all the aspirations what people had for me, was just to be a social worker or something like that. So, and even my own, like even your own family, like even your own
Yeah.
sister, my own sister, I love her, but even my own sister said things was hurtful because they don't see the creativity. They don't see my vision. And I realize it was hurtful, but it's just like I can't rely. You have to build that inner strength, and I'm saying that's taken me over 10 years. I didn't come out the womb like this,
Yeah.
and that's why 2020 was so important. I was like, I tried to fit in the box. I tried to do
Mm.
what everyone said to do. I tried all my 20s. Nothing happened. But when I start cliche professional development and motivation guru speak in a minute, but when I was being myself, my true self, and being around like-minded people and trusting people with my ideas and create and just being expressively, with no limits, things changed for me.
Yeah.
I know it sounds
Yeah.
cliche, but that's what happened. That
No,
literally
no,
what
it,
happened.
it doesn't sound cliche because I think that as entrepreneur, as you mentioned, like far as especially talking to your family, and I'm a believer. I believe in God, and I believe when God give you something on your heart, it's for you. And I think when the issue or the challenges at times comes when we share that with others that are not on the same frequency that we're on,
No
because
alignment.
no alignment, because how they going to understand something that you believe deeply God put in you? They ain't going to understand that because it's not for them. And I used to, to your point, especially, around friends and family, as far as telling your ideas and not getting the type of reaction, out of them. I was like, well, man, maybe they ain't. And even my wife at times, not getting this, reaction. I got this great idea. And I had to come to a point where you have to be confident, and I know you had mentioned this and again, happy family, go to Black Creative Handbook. You did like the 2022, your goals or what you wanted to accomplish and increase your confidence, and one thing we have to do that is in this journey of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship ain't nothing but a creative on on caffeine. You know what I'm saying? That's all an entrepreneur is. And if you're not confident, and I'm gonna use the word loyal to your visions, loyal to your aspirations, then you always gonna be discouraged. You're always gonna feel like you're not enough. You're always gonna feel like, well, maybe it's not gonna work. But you have to be loyal to your aspirations, loyal to what you truly believe. And I think that's at the end of the day, that's what faith is, you know. And so no, it doesn't sound cliche. And once you start looking at it from a logical perspective, they ain't supposed to be happy. Are they? They're not supposed to get it because it wasn't for them, you know. And that's sometimes hard to swallow that, now that I'm in my 40s. It's something I had to mature in, you know, because you wanted to kind of get that validation, those moments of validation. And I know now,
Did you say you was 40? In your
yeah,
in your 40s?
yeah, I'm
What?
40. Yeah. So in my 40s, so like,
Okay. Sorry, I think like, black don't crack, so that's cool. Okay, cool.
Thank you. But yeah,
In my head, I thought you was in your 20s. I don't know. I thought you was younger than me. I don't know why. It
it's
is what it
okay.
is.
Yeah, 81 baby.
Okay. Okay.
1981. And yeah, I mean it's like the validation piece. Like I really don't care what people think because at the end of the day, are you happy? If you say yes, that's it. That's it. That's it. So, Kassandra, what can we expect? What certain things are coming up in the future that you want to know or you want to tell the family? Anything you're working on, podcast, website?
So depends when this airs, but I think it might miss it, but I'm going to mention it anyway. So, being a multidisciplinary artist, I'm very into the visual arts. So, I've done a short film, what got selected for the London Independent Film Festival. Thank you. It's my
Congratulations.
first film called Gemstones on Lessons in Unconditional Love, and it was about Black British womanhood.
Hmm.
So to our American cousins, like you, your African American culture is very influential across the world. However, there's other lovely Black people from African Americans, and people always assume it's something like that. So it's just looking from the Black British perspective, looking at womanhood in a very gentle, humane way, in a very gentle way, because the way how we got onto this soil, on this English soil, is different how African Americans got on your soil. And it's just looking at those differences. My next project, by hopefully when it comes out, I should announce that I'm doing a collaboration with a diamond company of 18 karat gold, my fine jewelry. Can't say who it is yet. Hopefully, depends when this come out, I can tell you. What else is going on? The Black Creative Handbook Podcast is out there. I think we've gone over 60 episodes. So we're going strong, a very international crowd. When I look at my crowd and the statistics, it's like half American or North American and half, UK and onwards. So yeah, that's why I love doing stuff with, Americans, because, you support your Black people. You support.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking I'm putting out new jewelry. So please check out my jewelry. What I'm doing, KLG Jewellery, the British spelling. I think those. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. By the time this comes out, it should be here. So, social engaged practice, so what I try to do with jewelry. Obviously, I have my commercial side where I make wedding rings, engagement rings. I've like ready to wear, all that type of stuff. However, I'm trying to see jewelry as wearable art, like public art. So if you go to an exhibition or gallery, you're supposed to see jewelry and stories around jewelry. So what I've done, I've teamed up with a university called University College of London, and I've teamed up with a cancer scientist who looks at cancer cells and like cancer research. So it's exploring the relationship between cancer and jewelry. So we taught or got involved with people who has been affected by cancer. They could be affected by loss or they have going through cancer treatment. And we got them to design their own piece of jewelry describing their cancer journey and relating to the cancer's researchers' cells and what they saw and how people being diagnosed and stuff. So I was just the vessel for people they literally designed it. It's their idea. And I just made it for them. I put it in an exhibition. We've done documentary. We've done portraits to show the relationship between the jewelry and themselves, and people to reclaim their narratives. Because sometimes when they have health problems, people want to force their narratives on you. Like, you're a survivor, you're this, you got diagnosed this much, this is the drugs, this is it. And people want to feel very empowered and feel like how they want to be treated and how they see this health milestone in their life. Sometimes we don't talk about death, we don't talk about hope in these type of circumstances, and also children having cancer, all these type of subjects. So just using jewelry as a tool when people wear something or when people see it, what is their story? How do they feel? How can we humanize these people and just put them over there like, okay, you're sick. So that exhibition is called Tailor Made, and that will be out next month. So I'm very happy about that. I hope I do more of those type of projects using jewelry as public art.
Yeah, definitely. We'll highlight a lot of these events, especially the website and the podcast on our YouTube page. Kassandra, as we end, I want to ask you this last question. In your own words, what does it mean to you to finish what you start?
I've been consistent and I persevered and I've accepted the process. I might not enjoy it. I might not enjoy it.
No, I mean, what you just said, you may not enjoy it, but the word acceptance has been a word that I have matured in. And when you have said accept the process, I'm telling you, Happy Family, it's like the second time we have said this on the podcast during this series. Acceptance can be so powerful because it would take you from that denial into actually understanding that you are in a growth season. So it changes your fixed mindset into now a growth mindset. You know, it's the shift. It's the paradigm shift that we all need. So I love what you said, accept the process. I may not like it, but I'm accept it. That's really powerful. That is really, really, really powerful. And quick question with your the short film that you did, would that be on your website or where can people?
No, I'm gonna just try put it in film festivals. I'm trying to get more.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's more film festivals and private screenings and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But there's a short preview on my Instagram. People want to see that. So yeah.
Cool. Next time in London, I'm gonna have to go see it and everything.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Happy Family. Hey, always remember, be strong. And remember that you was created for greatness. And no matter what life brings you, always know to love God, love self, and love your neighbor. I'm your favorite neighbor, Jay Murray. Until next time, be blessed, family. Be blessed. Thank you. Kassandra, thank you so much.